In this video, I'm talking about tax, and I'm really asking the question, is the Australian tax system fair? Now, for me, I think it's a really big question that really requires a lot of time, energy, and effort. To a large extent, I think the Australian tax system is fair. Now, at the same time, I think it can be improved in a lot of areas. There are about 125 different taxes when you're looking at things like capital gains tax, income tax, and GST, just to name a few. At the same time, it can get very complex with the various bits of legislation. Now, the Australian tax system is built on equality, and that's both horizontal and vertical. Horizontal is where people who earn the same level of income pay the same amount of tax as each other, and that's both as a percentage and as a dollar amount. Now, that excludes any government benefits or allowances that they may be receiving. Vertical is where people who earn higher levels of income pay more tax as both a percentage and as a dollar amount. Most people are familiar with the marginal tax rates. That's when your income goes up past a certain threshold. It means that you pay a higher percentage of tax on every extra dollar that you earn. You might typically see this table. What a lot of people don't see is the average tax rate that they pay. The average tax rate is not a good method to make investment decisions, so that's a word of warning. Because I think the Australian tax system is pretty fair, here's a chart showing a couple of examples from a previous video that I did. You can see here that horizontally, two people earning the same income would pay the same levels of tax. In a prior video, I talk about a young couple where two people are earning $62,000 per annum. Now, vertical fairness is shown because there's a difference between a person who earns $140,000 compared to somebody who earns $30,000. Now, when you look at the average tax rates, the person earning $140,000 has an average tax rate of close up to 28%. And when you compare that with somebody on $30,000 of income, their average tax rate is about 7.5%. Now, when you look at somebody who's on $62,000 per annum, you can see that their average tax rate is 19%. And I think this is important to recognize because as people move up into higher income brackets, their average tax rate goes up. Now, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the average annual salary for an Australian is $81,530. In this next set of charts, I'm showing that the same information, but I'm expanding on this average tax rate. Now, here we can see the average tax rate for every dollar of income up to $250,000. Amounts below the tax-free threshold have been excluded. Now, the blue line is the income and the red line is the percentage average tax rate that someone would pay. Now, I think a lot of people don't get to see this chart, and I think it's pretty educational. Now, this is the same information in that chart, but I've put it in a dollar format. The blue represents after-tax income, measured in dollars, and then the red is the amount of tax paid. Now, in this next chart, it's the same information again, but I've reversed it, with tax on the bottom and income on the top. So I do think that the Australian tax system is pretty fair, even though it can be complex. And with that said, I think it's going to be beneficial that there are changes in the future. This video is part of a short series on tax, and in the next one, I'll be covering inflation and bracket creep. You can always stay up to date with my latest videos on social media, Facebook and YouTube. I want to keep these videos nice and short. Thanks for watching. You can always get in contact with me directly if you have any questions. And everything in this video has been covered under general financial advice and factual information because it doesn't take into consideration your personal financial goals, needs, or objectives. Thank you for watching.